Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
You heard the lady.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to read through the minutes from the March 6th meeting? Okay, I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
Okay, discussion. Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Only.
Any opposed? Okay, I just want to mention that we will be going into executive session tonight after our regular meeting is over. And next is the highway report. Randy could not make it tonight, so I have his report. So, highway, at the March 6th meeting, Randy suggested we wait to order the box and plow due to steel prices were predicted to drop. The original price was $152,820. The new price for the same exact equipment is now $132.80. 132.
20 grand.
Thousand. Okay.
$380. So it went down almost $1,000. What am I saying? $20,000. So I'm looking for a motion for Randy to order the equipment and to sign the contract. So does someone want to move it and we'll go into discussion after?
So,
I'll second.
any chance it'll go down another 20 if we wait another month?
That's what I was thinking.
Don't think so. Is there any discussion on this?
No.
It was a wonderful move.
Yeah.
And really
It was
good
a
that he
very
thought that.
astute.
It was nice
Yep.
for the guy to Yeah. warn us.
Yep,
That's how he
Okay.
makes the big bucks.
okay,
Yes.
so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so as we all know, they've been out snow plowing in the big storm, and pushing back the banks in hopes of spring. The grooming is winding down, and we should have enough time for the grant money, which is the state grant money, which we needed to build up the time to get that amount of money back. This is not good news. The garbage truck update, the body company is now saying the truck won't be done until sometime in fall.
Come on.
The truck chassis is at the facility in Mississippi. The delay is because the chassis got to Mississippi late and they are having workforce problems. No one wants to work, shocking surprise,
No.
even in Mississippi.
That's everybody's excuse.
So that's the situation with the garbage truck. I can tell you, I know we had a lot of problems this week. The lights were falling out, so they were trying to weld them back and try to hold it together. The license plate, trying to hold it back together.
We're gonna have the whole tape.
We're really having an issue
One day
with
they're
it
just gonna
falling
bring
apart.
the garbage to the dump and leave it.
Yeah,
Back it too far.
Can't do that.
so, believe me, I know this is a big disappointment to everybody. This is just really ridiculous, but.
If we absolutely had to, if the truck became unsafe, would there be a possibility of leasing one until?
I think before we would do that, we'd probably ask the village to
I
see
was
if
gonna
they
say,
would-
we maybe try to
they would
do,
go alternating
Yeah.
But
days.
we're
Yeah.
just looking at all.
yeah, I'm
Yes.
sure Randy could probably work something out with Roger, as long as the village board approved it.
Short term, yeah.
Yeah, short
Yeah,
term.
they'd
yeah,
have to change
yeah.
dates and dates and
Exactly.
all that.
Yes,
Alternate.
but anyway. Okay, buildings, there's no update on the wash bay boiler. That's it on buildings, and Randy's report is done. See what happens when he's not
Yeah,
here?
it's shorter when you do it, yeah.
Okay,
So no update, they didn't put it in when they were supposed to? The date of, the last meeting, you said they were gonna do it that week.
no, they didn't do it.
Okay.
And he hasn't heard an update from them since.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, so old business, short-term rentals. Kathy, did you have anything to report or not?
Basically, the committee's gonna get back together again next week. So
Okay.
there has been, one letter, against regulations with all kinds of reasons that I'm sharing with the committee. One letter that has come in that is 4, points towards regulation that I will share with the committee. We'll hash things out and see if any of our recommendations has changed before we bring it back to you again.
Okay,
I must say, the feedback I've gotten over this last 2 weeks has been very positive. That the community is doing this, that your committee seems sober and reasonable, et cetera. Obviously, there's little tweaks, wish we had this, wish we had that. Did you get any feedback from the village
The village,
They
yeah,
brought
I
sense.
believe I emailed all of you and told you that the village has decided
To wait for the
to
state.
wait on the state. They like the poster, they are not going to do any ordinance or permitting at this point. They are going to create a brochure using our checklist towards safety at this point. And whether Rebecca continues on with the committee, I told Rebecca she was more than welcome to,
Sure.
stay on. And she said she would discuss it with Jeanette Barrett.
Any reason, I didn't get this email, but just so we're
Okay,
clear.
I gotta find out why.
Well-
Did you get it done?
I got it.
Okay,
You remember,
I got it.
you're having,
I have a hiccup on the town, you gotta double hit me.
I'll
if you
send
can.
it, double hit you.
Yeah, and McGovern.
Okay.
So,
3811.
and I
I'm
have to be
sorry about
honest,
that, I forgot.
I'm having a real problem when I send something out. I actually have to type your email in every time.
Oh, it
N-
won't stay on
McGovern
there?
3811, no.
Okay.
It shows it, but if I click on it, it always comes back to me.
I could explain to you why I've been, haven't pushed to have it fixed, but you probably already understand. I don't have 3 hours to spend with Pete to do it.
Well, let me know what the issue is and I might be able to try to help you.
But.
There you go.
Okay, I will. But,
Sorry about that.
no, that's not your fault. I'm just, that's why I'm asking questions you may have already answered for others. Did they give any specifics as to what they disagreed with? As to why they would not just
No,
say?
no, I did not attend the meeting.
No, all right.
It's in the minutes of Hamilton County, or their minutes is in the Hamilton County News.
Okay, I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, it's always so far behind, I don't think
Yeah.
these were yet.
Yeah,
Are they?
they are.
Okay,
They're in this week's paper?
I'll go back.
It said they, were gonna wait for the state.
Yep, so Rebecca filled me in, she called me, the day after the meeting and filled me in on their discussion and decisions. And they are not going to have an ordinance or permitting at this time. They're gonna wait to see what the state does. And we also need to wait to see what the attorney's answers are. Betsy put those calls in after our last meeting and we're still waiting to hear
Yeah,
from that, so I wanna bring that, so.
I certainly
will-
wanna hear that.
Yeah, I also will, just general knowledge to the public, anybody that has any thoughts, suggestions, please share them before the committee meets next week and we'll bring it up.
And so I just want to also mention that when I talked to the attorney, I gave her Kathy's cell phone number and name because I prefer her to call Kathy and
Yeah,
talk to
get it direct.
Kathy and keep out the middleman because I don't attend those meetings, that's Kathy's committee. She needs to be the one to give the information to the attorney.
Yeah, I just have to say, I don't know of any, I've done a lot of intermunicipal work in this park. I can't think of any municipality that's ever said, no, we don't wanna have anything to do with what's gonna happen on the community. We'd much prefer to wait till the state tells us what to do.
Well, I
That-
think
Am I getting it
they're,
wrong?
I don't know exactly why, I was just.
No, I'm not asking you for, if you don't know, you don't know, it's just a,
I don't know, I mean, and I do not want to assume, so,
No.
and you know why.
Okay, so next, thank you Kathy. Next, our band update, it's open bid time. Step,
Wait, John,
campground?
You skipped
you've
down.
got bid opening under new
Where,
business.
you're,
there
you
on the
missed four
page.
or five items there.
Next.
We're in old
I've got-
business?
You got it under new business and old business.
This is the new business.
The new
No,
business
but
is
your
there.
agenda,
Opening bids is under new business, yes. Oh,
we're in old business.
it's actually the ban update. Steph, is there anything new on the ban?
Wait, where are we?
Excuse me, Betsy,
Yes, you're right.
I'm just, we've skipped these 4 items.
Yes.
You're
Old
right.
business. Okay, we did short-term rentals. I apologize, guys. Okay, next is the state campground update. Anybody have anything new? Has anybody made any calls?
I've made no calls, but I have no responses.
No, but they have been publicizing the fact that now you can reserve your tent sites that day, so they're putting a big,
Yeah, they're
Um,
trying to
They're trying to put it, yeah.
That's,
So they've got a new,
three-card money.
a new, you can get on the website and reserve that day. So I've seen a couple of things coming through the DEC websites.
Okay,
Which it doesn't, a lot of people don't like that because
course.
you used to be able just to walk in last summer and get a site. You can't do that, you have to reserve ahead.
Well, now
But,
you can
but
reserve
at least 50% of the Adirondacks doesn't have cell phone service, so if you're somewhere with cell phone service, without cell phone service, you can't make your reservation.
So you pull up to the building.
Yeah, and then they say, no, you need a reservation, even if you make it that day.
so Don, can I just ask you, at the last meeting, you reported that they were keeping the Indian Lake Island open, but they were closing Louis Lake Campsite, but you said the water for the island comes from Louis Lake Campsite?
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
So someone's
So
gonna have to
they're
go
not
onto
going to-
there to open that gate and take care of that.
The water's on all the time,
Chlorinated.
but they're, when they close the campsite, I guess they're gonna leave the water on to
Sure.
feed the islands.
so the water's,
Or they don't actually feed the islands, they feed the boat launch and
Yeah.
caretakers.
Right,
okay,
Cabin.
yeah.
okay,
there's a bathroom
okay,
there.
so, okay. Yeah, okay. Anything else on the campground update?
Nothing strongly good.
Okay, next thing is the property tax exemption for the speculator volunteer ambulance corps. At this time, I am gonna table that tonight. I am waiting to hear back from the attorney on the questions that I had for her, which was a lot.
Yeah.
So I am waiting to hear back from her. So we will move right along to the Nathan Latour clinic contract. And Neil, if you would
Sure.
not mind reporting on that?
I finally had a half-hour plus conversation with Patrice McMahon, who's the vice president of the hospital, and is in charge of all of the 11 primary cares. She hears, the concerns. She hears them from 7 other places that are also barely staffed. She chuckled as we did, realizing the date of the original contract signed by Frank and Tom Dowd, which was two CEOs ago down there. A lot of that has to be punched up. We agreed that she, after some medical leave, we were late in the spring, you and I would meet with them, go down there, punch up the contract. But again, for those folks who wanted copies of it, which is, of course, it's so dated, it really is not particularly great material anyway. But what it does make clear is that what was originally contracted, which was a provider for, weekdays, that the office people would be theirs and paid by them, et cetera, they have never wavered from. We just have had better than that coverage at different times going back over these last 10, 15 years, most recently with Mike Parslow. She is working, including on recruiting him, but she is working with a number of agencies trying to get folks for us. It is just a daunting task. Once again, I don't care if it's making garbage trucks or, manning a primary care center. It is a daunting task. These have to be skilled people and, license carrying. We could probably see down the road where something's going to go off the rails, including, and I don't have inside information here, but that, Carla is of an age where she may put in her papers, and Patrice is painfully aware of that. So we've got some stuff to hammer out and hopefully make plain for them that we need to continually get enough souls to make this place profitable for them and also workable and used by the locals. She did point out the last 2 years there's been a dip in their visits and that they are now a little below profitable. She said, I would never bring that up to you. We're committed to be there. She had heard of a few people in the community who had reached out and made some, I don't want to muscle flexing about, we'll have to take this up with others. And I had told Betsy 6 months ago, I said, this is a terrible way to approach this.
Yeah.
Given the fact that the only two suitors who were around for us a decade ago, be it Hudson Headwaters and Indian Lake, or Bassett, when they were bidding on this place, both have less than zero interest in taking on any new rural money-losing operations. This is the business model that Litour runs, and I think they, in upstate New York, they do it better than anyone else. Hudson Headwaters, who I would have said was the best, they have locked in with Glens Falls and have a lot more commitments at the hospital and a whole lot less in the doc offices that they originally built their practice on. John Ruggie, who's a genius, put this thing together, Dr. Ruggie. But, you know, there's a whole bunch of new headwinds that were not there then. But all said, she said, look, I could come and speak to the board should you want me to. I really don't want to get into a public hearing where I have to answer the same questions over and over to people, because she has a lot of duties. She doesn't just recruit the doctors for the 11 primary care units, some of which have specialties and so on. She recruits for all the clinical people for the hospital. So she's got a big job, and maybe too big lately. She said she's been there well over 20 years, and this is the hardest it's been. All that said, she said, if anyone there in authority were to ask us, we would gladly put in our 120-day option in that contract, which is still, you know, in play. Meaning either the town or the hospital could always vitiate that contract with a 120-day notice. So being very kind, very polite, very ladylike, she made it plain. You know, we're doing the best we can. If you think you can do better, try us. And I am not, I'm not of the mind to do that. I think that we need to work with them as much as they need to work with us. That was the crux of the 35-minute phone call.
At least you got a phone call back, I didn't.
Yes,
But, I mean.
and she apologized for not getting back to you.
And absolutely, and as long as she got a hold of one of us, you know, our concerns were heard.
Yeah.
So, perfect. Okay, so next is the chamber. Neil and I had met with President Tracy Joy last week, and we had discussed all the concerns the town had with the proposed contracts the chamber had asked us to review. The chamber had their meeting the next day, so it really was perfect timing. Between our meeting and then the chamber board meeting, the following information is a work in progress. We discussed our concerns of having 2 employees in the office at the same time. We suggested they stagger the employees' hours, and they were going to be looking into that. They are mulling over the idea of having different types of memberships. The chamber will be doing events. They are trying to get each event to be sponsored by a local business. They are doing the farmers market, the Beer and Wine Festival, the Fire Tower event, and the Christmas stroll. They've committed to them. They are working with the businesses on creating new events. They are advertising already on Facebook to hire 4 team members. The positions are office coordinator, events coordinator, marketing specialist, and membership and ambassador liaison. Their membership dinner they will have in May, and they are working on changing 2 agreements they had submitted to us and making them into one. We suggested they change the name as well to something else. And the other thing I would like to mention is once we do get the contract back as a town, the other towns will be getting it as well. Then I'm going to set up a meeting with the chamber board and the 3 town supervisors to all go sit and talk as the 3 supporting towns. And we'll keep you posted once we receive the contract. Of course, we'll get you all a copy so everybody can read through it. And then at the next meeting, hopefully we'll have it soon. In the next meeting, we can discuss it. Anybody have any questions about the chamber?
Let me just add a little
Sure.
bit from the meeting.
Yep.
One was, one of my big concerns was the farmer's market, something they've been running pretty well, running for some time. Tracy assured Betsy and I that they would continue doing that, and without any changes. The positions that she mentioned, I was really concerned in my last 3 visits to the chamber office. They were open, and they were helpful, and there was 2 of them. And I said, can you explain that to me, how that ever came to be? I just don't get it. With such limited, which she admits they do, limited resources, to use them that way seems silly. You got 2 of them, you stagger them, and then you use an answering machine for the rest. She took note of that, but then came back with this 3-headed sort of monster, all of them being part-time. Okay? It is not the kind of job, sadly, we tried to structure this, several different people, several different times, structure a strong, full-time chamber director who was there and answerable and so on. But it also means benefits, and it also means real clout in order to recruit. These 3 things that Betsy just ticked off would be part-time and staggered, so that there wasn't a whole lot of overlap, and they think they can do it in the same, with the same budget.
So one other thing I didn't mention, and I thought maybe Neil would think of it, and he didn't either, volunteers. They will be looking for volunteers. I volunteered to work like weekdays, when they would need someone in the office, I would go in and help out. Neil volunteered to work in the office, but also the events. So if anybody is looking to volunteer, once things get moving, they'll be reaching out and asking people, then you can kind of call and volunteer. It was a very optimistic,
Very, very.
positive, energetic meeting,
Well, if
I
you know
felt.
this lady, that's the way she rolls. She's
Tracy, Joy.
Tracy Joy, the gift shop
Yep.
person.
Yeah.
She's smart, 30 years in retail at probably the best supermarket retail in the state, all due respect to my friends at Charlie's, at Wegmans, as a buyer and as a retail specialist. I think she understands people, she understands problem solving. She's gonna be a big help there. In fact, the whole board has turned over, I think all you folks know that, with the exception of Tammy, who's probably the only
From the Timberline.
business person who was on there at the time, and I think they're getting their stuff together. Hardest thing is, all of this turmoil and whatnot is also happening when the director, the 327th director, is leaving. So it is, of course, a good time to then restructure and make these kind of sweeping changes that they propose. So it was a good meeting. I
It was a
agree.
very good meeting. Yep. So, okay, now we're on to new business, Steph. Now it's you opening the bids for the band.
Okay.
So Steph sent out 5.
Really?
We did, we sent out 5, one of them came back, returned to sender. And then 2 got back and said that they were not going to place the bid.
Okay.
And then we have 2 that did, and they sent an email and I said I need it in physical, so they did
Sure.
send it physically. So here we go. This is Bank of Greene County. I'm opening this up at 7:23.
That's far away, isn't it?
I got 2 pages here.
It's like California.
Do you want me to move it over, or-
Not that far.
Okay, we're gonna read it out. Dear board members, the Greene County Commercial Bank would like to bid a 4.48% on the $600,000 ban. Please confirm receipt of our bid. And they just sent, that was what we sent them. This one is NBT, opening this at, let's say, 7:24. Trying to get it out of here. Warning, rate offer on the 1-year 600,000 non-cancelable ban is 4.40%. That's MBT.
Okay.
Is that, we asked for just the 1 year?
Well, I think we didn't ask for the 1 year. I think what did the letter say, Steph?
I have to go back here, but I believe it said, yeah, here we go. Please provide the town with an interest rate for a 1-year bank qualified tax exempt non-callable ban via, our email.
Okay.
Callable, yeah.
Okay.
And the other one, the first one, I don't know that you said that out
Let's go
loud.
back.
Did that one say 1 year as well? Somewhere in the
Well, the
verbiage?
same letter went to everybody, right?
Yeah, just,
It did. They
okay.
did not state 1 year.
But they got the
They would say-
information.
They said they wanted to bid a 4.48%
Mm-hmm.
on the 600,000 ban.
Okay.
Close.
It is
Okay.
close, but
Yeah.
Our local bank still beats the
Yep, absolutely.
price.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to go into discussion on this, if there is any. Okay, a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Well, we've been discussing it for a while.
Okay.
And 1 year is cool.
Well, it is in the, as long as the remuneration from the feds comes as it's supposed to. If not, we would have to go back to the bank and have to roll over some of that. But that's why I'm happy that the local bank won in numbers, because we've dealt with this gentleman a dozen times.
Because it is the town's official bank.
Right, yeah, but I mean, but we've dealt, you and lesser extent myself, have dealt with this fellow, got to know him, got to trust him, and I think
Jim
that,
Sullivan.
yeah, and I'm sure he would, come around to that, should we need it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So the next thing we have is to approve the resolution, the 2023 legislative agenda for the Adirondack Association of Towns and Villages.
So moved.
So moved by Neil,
Seconded.
Don second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okey-dokey. Okay, in the bill packet for tonight's meeting, you'll see that there is a bill for the Association of Towns for the State of New York dues. I'm looking for a motion to pay that.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay.
Kathy,
Kathy,
second.
okay. Is there any discussion on that?
Only that we've come to rely on them pretty regularly over the last 20 years for
Very good source.
guidance, yeah. I mean, very often it comes down to, it's common knowledge to the people in their office, and we've never looked at it. We've never had that particular issue come up. And a great deal of the membership of this association are towns that are, some even smaller than us, but of, 10,000 or less. So people who have the same exact sort of things that come up, and yeah, we need them in our corner.
So we normally pay this in February. For some reason, we didn't receive the bill until recently, like last week. But this year it did go up $99, so it's $1,099 total. Okay, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that covers that. Next is the amendment resolution for number 15 garbage truck. And the reason, I think I explained this to all of you, the reason we are doing an amendment is because, number one, we received the check from the county, which was a $20,000 donation towards our ARPA fund, which we had all agreed on at the last meeting. But in our past resolution, it only said $42,000 for our ARPA funds, and it was actually $42,974.23. And the reason we have to be exact is because it's a separate fund, ARPA fund, that we actually, once we use this fund, we actually have to send a treasurer's report and all the information along with the resolution to the state. And then we can actually close this out. So the total amount that we have in ARPA funds is $62,974.23, which will go towards the garbage truck. So we had at the last meeting approved to borrow money from the DB fund, which at that time we thought it was going to be $31,163. It's now down to $10,188.77 we'll be borrowing from the DB to the SR fund balance. So I'm looking for a motion.
Hold
Okay,
Second.
okay.
This is pretty high finance for here, but you know, if you get up to the county.
Any
it's
discussion?
like nothing.
Yeah. Is there any further discussion?
ma'am, sorry.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we're done with that. The next handbook resolution, this will be going into executive session under a personnel issue, so I'm just going to move right on past that. And the next is BTI. It has been brought to my attention that BTI has been paying they have been getting paid $18 an hour, which I had sent to you and said it was 20. It was only $18 an hour. They use their own vehicles. They don't get paid mileage. They buy their own boots and vests and all that kind of stuff. So what they are asking is for a $2 an hour raise from the board. It would be for Vi and Marty. Marty is now a tech. She's done it for 2 years, and now in 2 more years, then Vi can actually contact the state DEC and let them know Marty has had more than 2 years of field experience on her own, and then she won't have to go online to test, and it'll save us $350 in the long run. So I'm looking for a motion, a motion to go into discussion.
I'll move.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, discussion.
It's very reasonable for the work that they're doing.
Yeah? Okay,
Yeah,
so no
especially
one
if we don't
seems to-
pay mileage.
Yeah,
Have a problem.
Stewart's is getting $16 now, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is overland on mud
Okay.
and snow. It's tough work.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I'll let her know tomorrow.
Kill
Next.
those black lives.
Next is, next is committee reports. Is there any committee reports? Kath, I know you already reported.
Pretty much.
That committee reported, and we can, the last ski lesson happened, and Rochelle and I got a look at the list of kids that showed up, and you know, whether
There were
we,
about 30 kids.
30 kids, and attendance was pretty good.
Mhm.
So we wanted to make sure that, you know, Laura was great about making sure that we were comfortable with the invoice that was coming.
Okay,
So that will be coming next. And
Okay.
then I guess our next chore is gonna be starting to
Tackle
talk
the
about
summer.
summer.
okay. Okay, that's it? Michelle, did you have anything else?
Nope.
Nothing? Neil?
No, Don and I have had some meetings with Randy, but nothing more on the highway that need be spoken to I can think of. And my time has been on contracts for the 2 entities we already spoke about.
Okay. Don?
Nothing more than Neil just said. We've been
Okay.
discussing.
Okay, so next, there was 2 voucher detail reports. One was dated March 13th, which was just our wire transfers, which is our electric bills, phone bills, and a regular report dated March 16th, so I'm looking for a motion.
I'll move.
Okay, second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Next is public comment. Karen?
Okay, I hadn't thought of doing this, but it was kind of mentioned that maybe I could bring it up. I didn't know if it was appropriate. But last weekend and this coming weekend are part of New York State Maple Producers Weekend Association, which we belong to the New York State Maple Producers Association. I believe that we are probably the only ones in New York, or in Hamilton County that belong. And I know we are the only ones in Hamilton County that participate in the Maple Weekend events. We had a large number of people that came on Saturday. Sunday, the weather was not so good. We did have some people. We give demonstrations of how we were actually boiling on Saturday, so it was really very impressive. So people got to actually see that. We showed them how we tap the trees, the whole process. And we serve refreshments. We have maple cookies, maple muffins, maple tea, hot chocolate for the kids, and everybody had a really great time. We'll do the repeat performance again this coming weekend on Saturday and Sunday from 10 until 4.
There it is.
Please feel free to show up. I think one of the things that is important is that, not just because we do it, but it brings another thing to do here in this community. I once said to somebody who was running the chamber at the time, when we travel, and we go to Durango, for example, in the fall, and you stop at the chamber office there, just like, what's going on? What's new? And they have a piece of paper and say, these are the things that you have to, that you can do if you're here for one day. And here's another list if you're here for maybe the weekend. And here's some things you can go as an outreach if you're staying here and want to go to different places. Well, I think putting on that list that you can come and visit a sugar house and take a tour any time of the year. You can come in June, July, August. We're certainly not boiling, but we have all the equipment, we show them how we do it, which is maybe different than other maple producers do it because we use all technology in the process that we use. My point being that I think it adds, and I keep using this word, and I've done it to this word before, it's all part of the puzzle. It's all part of what people can do when they come here. It's not all about skiing, it's not all about snowmobiling, it's not all about going to the beach, it's not all about boating, it's not all about hiking. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. And if you really look hard, you can find a lot of puzzle pieces that you can fit in there to make people say, you know, there's a lot to do when you come up here. We've had people who have lived here all their life and have never been to the end of Elm Lake Road. I always wonder, I can't tell you how many times I've heard, I always wondered what was down here. Well, if you keep going, you're gonna land up in Indian Lake, you know? So I think education about things that are going on is important. And so not only for the locals, but for the visitors as well. And part of that package, and I have to applaud, I think the New York Maple Producers Association has done a very good job. You may have seen ads on television where they say, visit your local sugar house. Washington County has loads of them. You go from one to another, to another, to another. So it's a little bit more challenging here in Hamilton County where, all right, what else are we gonna do? It does help that Oak Mountain's next door.
Yeah.
I mean, we're Oak Hill, they're Oak Mountain. They have pond skimming this Saturday. So again, it gives people one other thing to do when
Indeed.
they come
Yeah.
up here.
Yeah.
So,
Great point, and it's
yeah.
unique. I mean,
People have a good time, they
Yeah.
really do. Of course, you know, my husband loves to, you know.
Was he Irish?
Yeah, and no loss for words. No loss for words, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to see, I've seen your place a number of times,
Yeah.
but to see your operation with, as you say, with all the technology
It is.
going, and then to see a more
Buckets. right.
old-fashioned, like
Exactly.
the Weavers do, in our same town, and both of them producing,
Right.
you know, high-grade
Same
syrup
thing.
and a lot of ways to do it.
Right, so I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Well, thank you. I missed it this past weekend, and I will be there on Saturday.
Good,
Is-
thank you.
Is that it, Karen?
That's it.
Okay, a question for you. The Community Pride Day. I
Yes.
did call Steve Stefano. I left a message and
Okay.
told him who we had at this point.
Oh,
Do you
great.
know any other people, volunteers, or not yet?
I'll bring it up at the meeting that we
Great.
have the first Tuesday of April.
Okay, and we have 3 volunteers here
Okay,
from the last meeting, and whoever
Okay.
else we can
Terrific.
kind of get would be
Right.
great.
yeah, and our board's
Cleanup
pretty
day?
supportive.
Yes.
too.
Yes,
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
yeah.
That's in May.
May 3rd,
Yeah.
Wednesday, May 3rd.
Good.
And I told him that we would be meeting here at the library,
We will.
and we would just be going directly to the site.
Exactly,
So,
okay.
okay? That's what you
Thank
wanted, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. thank you.
Okay,
Okay, Pride
okay.
Day.
Shorty,
On that, short-term rentals, the village, I was at the meeting, the last meeting, and what I gathered, the reason why they're sitting back now and watching what's gonna happen is the state is gonna do some regulations, is what they were told.
We're aware.
We're aware.
And they heard that there's gonna be legal challenges, so they figured, why should they put something on the books and then be part of the legal challenge and have to spend, you know, village money to depend, let the state break the water first, I guess is the way they plan on it. You know, let the state go through all the legal whatnot, and then afterwards, put in what you can get away with on the books. That's what I gathered from their
It's-
reasoning for setting back right now.
It's their choice. It's their choice.
You know, it just sounds
Yep.
reasonable, why be the one out there
Yeah.
with your neck stuck out, you know, let the state be the one.
Well, there's 50 communities already with things on the books. I mean, it's not, we wouldn't be the first ones.
No.
This committee has done yeoman work studying what other folks have done, and I think pulled back a little bit from the more austere or the more draconian things, to have something that recognizes the fact that this is not going away. It's certainly the village's prerogative to do as they wish.
You know, that's just what I gathered, is,
Yeah.
you know, the legal part of it. It sounded, you know, like there's already lawsuits filed, but I'm not positive, but.
Yeah, on some of the more draconian, there should be.
Well, the
Thank you.
state's legal, the legislation that we saw that has gone to committee at the state level does not have much, if anything, in the way of safety. And that's why we were comfortable bringing our recommendation to the board, was because we're taking a completely different angle. I mean, the state legislation doesn't even talk about, you know, fire extinguishers. So it's a completely different route.
One of the residents that spoke that night, and it was the part about, you know, the railings and all this other stuff, and it's somebody's house, and it gets into a bit, you know, what's legal, what's not, and stuff like that, so. And as far as having a place to rent, you usually have the safety stuff there, because you're liable. If something happens, you're liable. I don't care if you're an LLC or what you are. You know, if you open your place up and you don't have the fire extinguishers and
Right.
the smoke alarms and all that stuff, you're just looking for a problem. So,
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm just looking for people to send their thoughts before the committee meets.
My granddaughter Shelby,
Thank-
she has one in Northville, and she said they came around, she paid $75 for a 1-year permit, and they come in there to make sure you have, you know, your fire extinguisher and your smoke detectors and stuff like that, and they didn't go into all the other stuff, about the railings or anything as far as I know.
Well, that's why people can call and complain if they have a problem.
Like I said,
Thanks, Shorty.
you're legal, or you're liable, so you might have to
Yeah.
make it safe, you
Yep.
know, before you open your door, so.
Yep.
What about Debbie? Does Debbie-
Thank you, Shorty. Debbie, anything? Nothing?
Nothing?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we went to roundtable. Don?
Just for information, we were talking about well waters and stuff for short-term rentals. I maybe should have taken this up then, but there is a list of what recommended residential water quality testing. And I have an occupancy, this is from Airbnb Help Center, occupancy tax collection remittance by Airbnb in New York. And it lists by county what the hotel or motel room occupancy is. Like Broome County is 5%, Allegheny is 4%. Hamilton County is not listed as anything. So I just wanted to,
You want this to go to Kathy?
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Don?
No, that's it.
Okay. Neil?
I'll just follow up on Don's, which is, we're uniquely situated here since we don't have any hotel tax, which puts us in a vast minority in the county governance of the state. It's hard to then tack on to something we don't really have. But then also, I think the reason why there's no listing there is because we don't have a proper list of those within our county, which many of the towns that have been proactive and cities have already gone out and, mined this data. And I think this committee's work shouldn't be delayed, so that we can at least get those numbers. Right now, we're the wild, wild west. And I don't have any other roundtable
That it?
for me.
That for you? Okay. Michelle?
Hopefully, everyone got one of these in their mail this week. The Hamilton County Job Fair is coming up on Wednesday at Oak Mountain from 4 to 8. We have a lot of really great employers coming, so if you know of anyone that is looking for a job, whether it is full-time with benefits, part-time, seasonal, anything, please encourage them to come to the job fair. We have
That's great.
big employers. We have Barton Mines coming. We have Hamilton County will be there. We have quite a few job openings in Hamilton County. The Adirondack Watershed Institute, Racket Lake Navigation, Great Camp Sagamore, the Adirondack Experience Museum, all sorts of employers. So,
Have you had any participation from employers in the smaller variety, the Charlie Johnson's, the Cracker Woods?
I know that like the Oxbow will be there. I believe Mountain Market showed interest in coming. I'm not sure if they will be there or not. Kevin Elkin Tree Service will be there.
Good.
Yeah, so there are definitely
Yeah,
all
just small
different scales
businesses. Good.
of employment.
Rochelle,
That's great.
is DEC there?
DEC and DOT will be there as well.
Okay, because DEC
Yep.
is at the job fair in Warren County as
Yeah.
well, okay.
Well, we've gotta make sure we
Oh,
invite
yeah,
them.
exactly.
Oh,
We
yeah.
don't want any excuses,
That's
Karen.
what-
Yeah.
DEC is what fueled the whole job fair
You're
to
gonna
begin
apply
with.
for
That's
so-
right.
That was the target,
Yeah, because they don't have any lifeguards yet, they've got 2 lifeguards
Right,
that are
there you go.
going to work, yeah,
Yep.
but they don't have any lifeguards yet.
The thing with this,
Anything
you know,
else?
most of the
No,
people
that's
are
it.
looking for employment, but they're not looking for work.
Yeah.
there is a difference.
Yep.
Yeah, there is.
Yep. No, nothing, Kathy? Rochelle. Stephanie?
I just wanted to ask the board if it was okay, just as a formality, if I could go to the Nestica conference, April 23rd through the 26th.
Sure,
You're your
you
boss.
have some in your budget for education conferences, don't you?
Yes, yes. I just had talked to other clerks about
Sure.
something else I was calling about this week, and they were telling me, oh.
And where's that, Steph?
Did you get permission from your board? And I said,
You don't need.
Where's that?
I guess they do, so I figured I'd ask.
Okay.
It's gonna be in Syracuse this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move it, so she's,
Close, not to them.
Yeah.
Do we need to?
Syracuse, yeah.
it seems like the other,
It's not the drive to.
I move that the Stephanie be able to do expenditures for travel to this conference.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Okay, the only thing that I have left is I want to mention the Indian Lake Job Fair, which is March 25th from 9 to 4 at the Indian Lake School. So if for some reason someone can't make the one down here at Oak, maybe they could make a couple days later to Indian Lake School. Warren Hamilton County Office of the Aging is asking all folks that have received a community assessment survey in the mail to please fill them out and mail them back. This survey will help New York State determine the needs of our seniors. So it's very important to fill them out. I got one.
I did too.
Yeah.
Very
Oh,
thorough.
see, and I thought it was because I rode the bus. I was gonna say the school
Oh,
bus.
no.
I rode the bus. I thought that's why I got
No,
one.
you have, I've never rode the senior bus,
Yep.
but I got one, and it was, man, thorough.
Yes,
Thorough.
yes.
There's also
yes.
a link
You
for
got
the
it?
survey on the homepage of the website.
Not that I know.
So if somebody can get a physical
Oh.
copy, they can do it there.
That's correct, and I have that right here. If anybody wants to see it afterwards.
You mean
It's
the
right
data
there.
that they got already?
No,
No.
a link to
No,
do
no,
the
it's
survey.
for
Oh,
people
yeah,
that
okay.
didn't get it in the mail, they can actually go online and do it.
At the office.
It's on the Town of Lake Pleasant website.
Like,
Oh,
like,
there's a
those
link
things
to
like
it.
questions seem almost the same.
That's
Trying to
perfect.
trick you.
Website, see how good she is? She's ahead of the game. Okay, that's all I had. So our next meeting is April 3rd at 7 PM at the Lake Pleasant Library. I want to thank those couple of people here that came tonight. We will be moving into executive session for a discussion on a possible discipline of an employee and also for a personnel issue. So I want to thank everybody, and I'm looking for a motion to move into executive session. Michelle
Second.
and Neil. Okay, thank you, everyone.